Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Stuber. I'm a senior planner with the City of Charleston, and I'm the project manager for the Charleston Peninsula Plan. Welcome to today's open house. I'm really glad you're here. I hope this orientation video is both informative and helpful as a guide as you move through the rest of the open house and talk with other staff, consultants, and community members. Thank you so much for being here and for being part of this effort to envision a better future for the Charleston Peninsula. Today's community open house is part of an effort called the Charleston Peninsula, Our Community, Our Future, Our Plan. And today's focus is specifically on planning for the future of the Charleston Peninsula waterfront. In this orientation video, we will cover an overview of the Peninsula Plan, what it is, and where we are in the process. We'll go into more detail about the focus of today's open house being on the waterfront and water first. We'll invite members from the city's water plan team to describe what the water plan is and how it relates to this peninsula planning effort. And then finally, what to expect from today's open house and going forward. So what is the Peninsula Plan? The Peninsula Plan is a city-sponsored, but ultimately community-driven master planning effort to guide the growth and evolution of the Charleston Peninsula for the coming decades. As you'll see on the map on the right-hand side, when we say the Charleston Peninsula for this effort, we are referring to all of the Charleston Peninsula that is within the city of Charleston city limits, from the Neck to the Battery. In this effort, we want to foster a shared vision for the future based on the voices of Peninsula residents and other stakeholders, anyone that has a relationship with the peninsula. We also want to knit together both existing and concurrent planning efforts, build on our city's unique strengths, and address the challenges that we're facing on the peninsula today and will face in the future. The four focus areas of the planning effort are water first, looking at our relationship with the water and how we can improve that relationship in the future, and also looking at what priorities and values should guide future redevelopment along the waterfront. Second is neighborhood design, and this is looking at what would we like to be able to do, see, and feel in our neighborhoods on the peninsula? How can we achieve more and better public spaces, and how can we provide more housing options? For peninsula mobility, it's our third focus area, and this is looking at how do you get around the peninsula now, and how would you like to get around in the future? So are you driving? Are you riding your bike? Are you walking? Are you taking transit? Or another method, how can we help support ways for folks to get around safely, enjoyably, and efficiently? We also want to understand how we can make the best use of our streets. And then last but not least is the focus area of economic development. We want to support an economy on the peninsula that provides value to residents, not just tourists. And we really want to make sure that we're attracting and sustaining more local and minority-owned businesses now and in the future. Ultimately, we want to shape with an equitable and resilient, vibrant economy for the future of the peninsula. We're working with a team of consultants on this effort. The principal consultant is A.R. St. Gross. For outreach and communication is ASECO Group. For economic development, HR&A Advisors. The mobility services, Beal Engineering. And then lastly, part of the urban design looking at water first and also how ecology forms and design is Circulus. Of these firms, 3 of them are local, and those include the ASECO Group, Beal Engineering, and Circulus, all based here in Charleston. There are a variety of other recent planning and also concurrent planning efforts that will be folded into this planning effort and future vision for the city. So we want to take the best from all of these in terms of recommendations and information that they've gathered to make sure that our Peninsula Plan is data-driven, reflects the wide expertise that we have available in our communities that really draws on these previous efforts. The planning process will occur in 3 phases. The first, focusing on just listening to the community and learning. So understanding what are the existing conditions, looking at these other studies, recent planning efforts, and really entering into dialogue and understanding what the community sees as the opportunities, challenges, needs, and aspirations for the peninsula. This is the phase that we are in now. Next, we will move into the second phase of testing ideas. So starting actually to test some different recommendations and strategies, gaining initial feedback and input on those different ideas. And then finally, reaching consensus and developing this final plan and vision with the recommendations for the future of the peninsula. So far, we've held 1 series of open houses in September, and this was to kick off the plan to really launch the effort. We held 2 community open houses, 2 stakeholder workshops. Over 200 community members participated in these efforts. This includes residents, business owners, subject matter experts, advocacy groups, and other key stakeholders. Again, many people have a relationship with the peninsula, and we want everyone with a relationship with the peninsula to be involved in this effort. So again, we are here still in this listen and learn phase. We expect this to take a few months. And this session, again, is focused on water in particular. The next workshop will be in late January, and we will be starting to move into testing ideas while also continuing to listen and learn. You'll see that there's some overlap in these. So there's not a clean cut and dry stopping from in one and moving into the other. We're always listening and learning, and we're always interested in feedback and input to guide the next steps. So what is the focus of today's open house? What is waterfront land use planning? So in this conversation today, we want to understand how we can enhance our relationship with water on the peninsula and what priorities and values should guide future redevelopment along the waterfront. On the right-hand side, this map is showing the entire area that we're studying as part of this conversation. I'm going to emphasize the word study. This is the area that we are looking more into, that we want to hear your stories about, your ideas for. This is an investigatory research listening process. This is the area that we want to focus on. And it's looking at the entire peninsula waterfront with few exceptions. What will come out of this effort are 2 things. One is a proposal to amend the city's comprehensive plan to include a new waterfront redevelopment future land use district. This is a new land use district category that is not currently an option in the comprehensive plan. That will be one deliverable. The other deliverable of this effort will be to inform and guide the vision overall for the Peninsula Plan in terms of any recommendations related to the waterfront. One key point is that this study area is not going to be necessarily the same area that is recategorized with the waterfront redevelopment future land use district area in the comprehensive plan. One, we are just studying this area. Ultimately, part of that studying is to determine which areas, which properties on the peninsula will be reassigned or reclassified under the waterfront redevelopment future land use district area. On the right-hand side is showing the peninsula future land use map. This is in our existing comprehensive plan and showing our current land use categories for all of the peninsula. Future land use districts are high level. These can apply in various contexts, and they provide recommendations on uses, so commercial or residential, This can include affordable housing as a recommendation. These high-level recommendations can also address density, heights, how public and open space is incorporated, water access, and how we approach stormwater management. Future land use districts are not changes to zoning, and they do not provide detailed design recommendations or development terms for any specific property. On the bottom of the screen is an example of one of our current future land use districts, city centers. You can see it's about a paragraph long. And so the deliverable of the Waterfront Redevelopment Land Use District is going to be a paragraph, approximately one paragraph in length, and it will also identify which parcels, which properties on the peninsula will be classified in this new land use district. Now, what is the water plan? Right, we are grateful to have members from the city's comprehensive integrated water plan here today, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and then share with you more about the water plan.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Cazella. I'm the Communications and Projects Manager here at the City of Charleston's Office of Resilience, and I'm one of the main point of contacts for the Comprehensive Integrated Water Plan.
Hi, I'm Stephen O'Connell. I'm with Black and Beach. I'm the project manager for the Comprehensive Integrated Water Plan, and I'm located here in Charleston.
Hi, Jared Bramblett, project manager with Moffitt Nickel and the Wagner and Ball team. I'm also a resident of the Charleston Peninsula.
In 2022, the Charleston City Council funded the water plan to build off of the work of the Dutch Dialogues and create a vision for the city to embrace its relationship with water, utilizing a 25-year planning horizon. Last year, the city was fortunate to secure a contract with a team of expert consultants led by Black and Beach, Wagner and Ball, Moffitt and Nickel, and Biohabitats. And many of these team members are here based locally in Charleston. In the fall of 2022, the work kicked off. And then in 2023, the team held nearly a dozen stakeholder workshops across the city, including the Peninsula, a full day in the community of Rosemont, West Ashley, James Island, Johns Island, and Daniel Island. We anticipate the final report of the water plan to be delivered in a story map format to the public by spring of 2024. I'll now hand it over to our team members, Stephen and Jared, to dive a little more deeper into the water plan. Stephen?
Thanks, Kaylin. The Comprehensive Integrated Water Plan is a comprehensive citywide plan that builds from and integrates existing plans, projects, and priorities around the city's relationship with water. The water plan will set the strategy and provide guidance to the city and its citizens to better understand, manage, prioritize, and adapt to both current and future compound flood risks. The city in Charleston embodies the low country and is thus susceptible to compound flooding from rainwater, tidal inundation, emerging groundwater, and storm surge. With 13 inches of sea level rise over the past 100 years and 14 more inches expected by 2050, these risks are increasing. The water plan will expand upon the elevation-based land use recommendations within the city's comprehensive plan by providing tools and strategies for growth on natural high ground and adaptation and reservation of land on low-lying areas throughout the entirety of the city of Charleston.
And the water plan's really going to build on the work that the city's already done, really starting foundationally with the 1984 drainage plan. That studied the entire city, but really set some of the major infrastructure projects like the Meeting, Market, Concord Street Pump Station, and the soon-to-be completed Spring Fishburne Stormwater Project. In 2019, the Dutch Dialogues Charleston commenced, and the report was unanimously adopted by City Council. That ultimately led to the Perimeter Protection Analysis Discovery Report and the City Comp Plan work. In 2019, the Dutch Dialogues, it's really an integrated water management strategy that's looking at the land and water, kind of the ecology, the infrastructure and built environment, and then the development and land use, how we live and interact here with the city. The Dutch Dialogues led, as Stephen mentioned, the land and water analysis that was part of the comp plan. And that's really looking at flood risk and vulnerability across the different elevation zones of the city and looking at adaptation pathways of those different zones based on their flood risk. And that's ultimately led to what has become the water plan and what the team's excited to be working on here now. And this is kind of looking across the city and the human scale factor, how we live with it, The environmental justice community scorecard is looking at that risk along with the flood risk depth. And this is just one of the screening tools that we've developed and we're using to prioritize projects and look at resilient water projects recommended in the water plan. This is zooming into the peninsula. You can see the different communities highlighted, but the key here is really the vast parts of the peninsula that are at risk from flooding, from sea level rise and storm surge and stormwater flooding in the future. And the key takeaway here is just how much of the peninsula is at risk, and that's really informing the recommendations of the water plan. On the lower peninsula, this really is a continuation of recommendations from the Dutch dialogues, but the lower peninsula is a polder system. So it's a system of integrated water management inside the peninsula, protected by some sort of perimeter to protect us against the impacts of sea level rise and storm surge. The key here is integrated water management principles thought about spatially. How do we interact with the water, but also how do the different systems interact together? So looking at groundwater, sea level rise, stormwater flooding, potential storm surge impacts and overtopping. And the solutions are going to kind of respect the ecology, go back to that original land and water systems that we have, look at natural and nature-based features along with hard gray infrastructure. And as you move further up the neck of the peninsula, really looking at resilient water management strategies, living shorelines, other green infrastructure solutions, things that really strengthen the communities and the quality of life. And we're really excited to be wrapping up the water plan here in the next several months.
Thank you all. So now that we've covered what is the Peninsula Plan, what is today's focus on the waterfront, and what is the water plan, now we're going to talk about what you can expect from today in the open house and going forward. As you enter the main room, there will be a variety of stations. We recommend that you go visit these stations in a certain order, starting with the welcome station and community hub. This is where we want to know where you're coming from and just anything that's going on for you, any ideas you have that you'd like to share, any concerns, and also how you would like to stay engaged with this process going forward. This is also a station you may want to visit at the end of your time here before you leave today if something new came up and you want to share. The second station will be about the water plan. So if you were intrigued by the presentation from the water plan team today, this is an opportunity to learn more. They'll have more information at that station. You'll be able to actually talk one-on-one with the water plan team members and understanding what is the paradigm or recommendations for the Charleston Peninsula coming out of the water plan currently in process. The third station is looking at the study area in particular and existing land use recommendations. So we are going to be showing pictures of the places within the existing study area, and we'll be there available to answer questions about what those existing land use recommendations are. The fourth station is what we've heard so far. So we'll be sharing back what we've heard from the community and key themes. If you missed the first round of workshops or we haven't been engaged with us before today, there's an opportunity for you to add any additional thoughts or ideas or concerns with the consultant team. And then finally, the last station is going to be actually showing examples of different waterfront development types from around the world, and getting your feedback on some different examples of which ones you like and why. After today, again, our next big round of public workshops will be at the end of January. We'll be bringing back ideas both from today's conversation, but also the other three focus areas of the Peninsula Plan, including mobility, economic development, and neighborhood design. Something I neglected to mention before, this is really important. You'll see with this this dashed arrow at the bottom of this visual is showing that, yes, we have these big public events sort of punctuated throughout, but we are continuing to engage with the community at a smaller scale with smaller touch points throughout the process. And that's something that we hope you will keep in mind. We'll be coming out to communities. We also invite people to ask us to come to them. So if you have an event or you have a meeting and you'd like us to come to you, that's something that we hope you'll consider reaching out to us about. We'd love to talk with you about how we can best involve your community in this effort. You can learn more at peninsulaplan.org. You can sign up for regular updates through our monthly newsletter called Plan Charleston. You can follow along on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, now called X. And then if you want to contact us, the email for this effort is peninsulaplan@charleston-sc.gov. That will come to me as well as my other teammates working on this effort. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the open house.